Alright, I want to thank you guys for watching this video and taking a few minutes of your time while we talk about the greatest. Now I'd just like you to imagine. Imagine the feeling of a 12-year-old boy receiving his first new bike. The joy, the happiness, the yearning feeling to just get out there and ride and keep riding. Can you see it? The smile, the arms in the air while he's jumping all over. Imagine. Imagine now that same boy filled with all that excitement. Waking up to that same bike, but it's gone. Someone stole it. Now sadness, frustration, and overwhelming anger take over as only thoughts of revenge can flow through his mind. It was then, it was that instance, it was that incident that created a path. A path of greatness, or to be the greatest. A path for a legend. A legend that would come to be known as Muhammad Ali, the greatest. It was in 1942 in the city of Louisville, Kentucky that the life of Cassius Clay Jr. began. And yes, I said Cassius Clay. That was his birth name. And it was at 12 years old when that bike was stolen and the decision to step in the ring and to fight, to become a boxer, that's when that decision was made. And it was only 6 years later, at the age of 18, that young Cassius would go to the Olympics in Rome, defeating three-time champion from Poland, bringing home the gold. It wasn't long after that win, in fact, that the path of Cassius would meet Malcolm X. This is when he would convert to the Nation of Islam and therefore changing his name to Muhammad Ali. See, in his career as a boxer, Ali fought 61 fights and winning 56 of those. And out of those fights, 37 of that 56 were done so by knockout. You see, he was the only fighter to be named the Fighting Magazine champion 5 times. He was a heavyweight title holder 4 separate occasions. Float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. Well, that's what he said just before he was to become the heavyweight champion in 1964 at only 22 years of age. See, it's not simply a stolen bike or the number of knockouts in the ring that created this legend. It was the fight outside the ring that touched many lives. In 1966, Ali spoke out against the Vietnam War, in fact. He was also arrested and convicted of draft evasion. He was stripped of his boxing title. But Ali fought, and he fought back hard. And in 1971, his conviction was overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court, giving him the opportunity to enter boxing again and continue to fight. See, Ali retired just a decade later in 1981, and soon after that, a new fight began. It was a fight with Parkinson's disease. This didn't stop his will to keep fighting. In fact, in another act of defiance, of what we could consider defiance, Ali secured the freedom of 15 U.S. hostages during the Gulf War in Iraq. He was also present during the release of Nelson Mandela. In 2005, the Ali Center was built as a tribute to Ali and the values that he had in life. So in June 3rd of this year, just 1 month ago, Muhammad Ali passed away in Scottsdale, Arizona. Yet from movies to quotes, magazines, Ali, the people's champ, the greatest, he will have a legacy that will continue for generations to come. You see, from a stolen bike to countless belts and knockout victories, his work for the people, freeing U.S. hostages, this is what makes him a legend. This is what makes him the greatest. And in the short time that I have spoke to you and this, nearly 1,000 new lives have entered this world. 1,000 new lives have entered this world. So, I suppose this leaves me with one last question. Of those 1,000 new lives that have entered this world, will it be a stolen bike that helps create the next legend? Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, my audience. My wife and my 2 boys, Alec and Stefan.